If you've been on a spiritual journey or even working through personal growth or personal development, you've probably heard of the term creating a new identity. Where we are now to where we want to be is going to require different habits, different steps, a new image within ourselves that we work towards. It's that new identity, that new persona that we see ourselves is the guiding force of how we will act throughout the day. What habits we'll create, or different habits that we already have that we may tweak a little bit. Within my own journey, I have found that the resistance can be quite overwhelming at times. And to some extent, I believe that's because I put so much on my plate, big expectations, really pushing for things to move overnight when it's a patience game. It's a self-loving, enjoy the ride type of journey. Hi, my name's Frankie. If you don't know, I have been going through this awareness, this personal development, spiritual awakening journey that has pretty much really occurred once I became sober. Since I had spent most of my life utilizing substances to numb the pain, to deal with just being here, once I became aware that there was a different way to do it, that we actually had control of our outcome, I felt like I was so behind. And so within that, I jam packed all this knowledge into my brain, did everything I could to learn all these different techniques and tools and really dip my toes into different ideas, different teachings that many people had already came about for years. The overwhelming sensation of needing to be ahead, not being happy with where I am, and feeling like I am behind really caused a damper. And it caused me to really cut corners, not dive as deep as I should have into my own self in order to figure out what it is that was keeping me stuck, keeping me on the same path without really moving any farther than I've gotten. Now, while when you are on this journey, the beginning, it doesn't seem, it seems like you're running in mud. It doesn't seem like you're getting very far. And once you continue in the practice of tweaking those habits and making those shifts within yourself that actually more aligns with where you want to go, you do start to slowly see the difference. One of the biggest things that I have found within myself is, like a lot of people say, take two steps forward to take one step back. And while in the beginning that would really get to me and I would almost shame myself, my inner critic was very hateful towards myself because I knew that I was better than that, but yeah, I was still participating in habits that weren't doing me any self-justice. Even now, I still have different areas of my life that I can see where I can improve on them. And that's what's brought me to this video today. In the beginning, for myself and my journey, I came across the affirmations and the positive thinking. And while in the very beginning I didn't realize that there was such a thing as toxic positivity, I was learning that to change your mindset, to change your beliefs, to change what you were focusing on would bring in more of what you actually desired. It's that law of attraction. No matter which direction you're going, the universe is going to provide it for you. So while I had this positivity thing down on check, there was a whole background noise that I wasn't really even aware of that didn't come to surface until not too long ago. And it was sneaky. It was that subconscious, that critical, that inner worry and doubt that I didn't even realize that was going because I had been doing it for so long that it was just a normal thing. And until I started picking up on it, I wasn't able to do anything about it. That was only half of the battle. Practicing catching myself and then reframing my thoughts from worrying about what could go wrong to focusing on what could go right was actually a pretty simple process for myself. It did take practice, and again, that inner critic was still pretty hateful whenever I would catch myself after the fact. But then I started catching myself in the act, and then before I even opened my mouth, I was able to catch myself as I was starting to go down the spiral doom and actually just reframe it before I got even but a few seconds into it. It's still a practice, it's a continuing practice, but it's gotten better. Where I'm at now is almost at a realization of gaslighting myself. In certain areas where I am resistant to the change, where I haven't fully embodied that new identity, where I'm in the beginning processes, there's something going on underneath, and it's a block that hasn't quite revealed itself, kind of like that subconscious spiral doom that I wasn't aware of. This is kind of the same thing, where I have an idea. It's taken me a while to get a distinct idea, but I have an idea as to what I desire and where I desire to go. And now I have the awareness of what is not in alignment with my habits and my choices that will get me to where I desire to go. So within these habits and within these choices, I have been catching myself. I have been catching myself in the process of, like I said, gaslighting myself. It's that inner fight with my subconscious of rationalizing why it's still okay to be in the comfort of doing what I know rather than temporarily stepping into the unknown and into the discomfort of something new that will eventually normalize, because everything we do eventually normalizes. And I know this in my head, but my inner self is kicking up a ruckus. While I've known there are different steps, different ways I could move further, I have taken big steps back as well because I didn't see the change. Because I didn't see a different outcome by doing what I needed to do, or doing what I thought I needed to do. In reality, though, now that I'm back into this habit, and I've caught myself in this earlier on too within this whole journey. It's like when you step back and you meddle around in your old comfortable ways after you've already stepped out of it and seen and experienced life in a different way. While it's comfortable, while there's habits there, while there's meanings that you have put on to why it's comfortable, you still know that it's better on the other side. And then this fight goes on within yourself, or at least within myself. I know better. There's the shame is coming up and the guilt because I do know better. Yet the gaslighting occurs with the rationalizing and that, oh, it'll be okay. Oh, you're doing just fine. Oh, just one more day. You can do this just for a little bit longer. Tomorrow will be a whole new day. We can make a change tomorrow. This has been going on for months. And it wasn't until just the other day that I realized you've been telling yourself that for months. You have been gaslighting yourself for months with this, I'm not going to say grace, but with this catering to comfortableness, not stepping up into the disciplinary actions that are involved, that are required to have some self discipline to actually stand in my power to create the new identity, my new being. And while some of these things are more for health, more for me myself personally, it's the long journey that these changes are for. They're for the physical external validation, the proof on the external hasn't quite made its way out yet. In the same instance, because I've already stepped into that and now I'm back, I know that this is not where I want to be. And it's almost like how long are you going to padiddle around in the area that you know you don't want to be in before you get pissed off enough at yourself to actually do what you need to do? And that's pretty much where I'm at. But this gaslighting and this toxic positivity of it's okay, you're gonna be okay. While I completely understand, I am not talking down on that by any means. I feel like we all need to love ourselves, like give ourselves grace in some areas. But we definitely have to come up and understand like when enough is enough. And when is it that you're literally procrastinating just moving forward and where you want to go? You're literally allowing the discomfort of what you've always known to be no more rather than just stepping into that temporary, just very temporary discomfort of creating a more better version, a better version of yourself, better habits. And half of that comes down to the meaning. Like I said, the meaning that we put on things, the reason why we rationalize why we are okay to continue how we are doing. And while I have to admit, getting locked in on an actual vision of my new self, where I really want to go, has been kind of a weeble wobble. And now that I have a better idea and an understanding, I know that this isn't where I want to be. So why do I keep doing this to myself? It's a practice. It's a practice. But just being aware of how I am catering to myself is almost irritating in its own aspect. There's no getting out of the rotation until you take this step out. And until you take that step, you're going to continuously be in that vicious cycle. The only way that you can build the trust within yourself is by doing what it is that you say you want to do, by showing up for yourself, by having that self discipline to take the actions toward the desired outcome. And the wishy washy back and forth of saying one thing and then doing a complete difference is the exact reason why most of our relationships with other humans can become so draining, so irritating, not understanding why would they say something and then go and do something completely different. And now I have to question that once I actually stick to my guns and get disciplined within myself and actually follow through with what I'm saying that I want to do for a better outcome for myself, I'm wondering how that will be reflected on my external, because we all know that our internal reflects our external. So this is interesting. Here we are in a new experiment. Only time will tell. But in actuality, now I actually have some motivation to stick to the discipline. We may or may not still have a little bit of self-worth issues there, but I feel like everything combined eventually works its way out, works its way to where we want to be. So there we are. To step into your true power, to step into that new identity, we have to follow through with what we say we're going to do. We have to follow through with what aligns with that desired outcome. And we have to have that self-discipline while giving ourselves some grace. Stuff doesn't have to happen overnight, but by taking those steps, small steps, and building the momentum on it to eventually create a whole new habit that feels normal. And then it's not even that scary. And before you know it, you'll look back and you'll be like, holy crap, it's only been so much time and I'm a completely different person. So now we're on to our next mission. We're going to keep up with that, clearly. And I'm interested to see. I'm interested to come back and have a new outlook on my external. Because again, what we create on the internal is what we create on the external, is what is reflected to us on the external. So this could be intriguing. This could be the answer to maybe a partner. Till next time.